Time to bring in my panel to discuss the rest of the day's top stories. Joining me now is Liberal Senator Hollie Hughes and PR Counsel Managing Director Kristy McSweeney. I think I'm going to have to call you the Bond girls. We've got the two blonde lasses here, the roses next to the thorn, which is me, of course. Now, the Defence Minister Richard Marles, of course, today announced that Australia will be sending a small number of defence personnel to the Red Sea, but no warship. And this obviously all comes on the back of the Iranian-backed Houthi rebel group, which has been attacking cargo ships in the region. I mean, we have a problem here, clearly, Hollie, where we cannot send a ship because we literally don't have the ships to send. I mean, we've got 3, I think, and they're not really up to scratch. So what can we do? So Miles says, the US has got no problem. We're going to send 16 Defence Force personnel. I mean, surely we can do better than 16 people.
Look, and I'm not sure it's actually correct that we don't have a ship that's ready to go, because when the request was first made, the Navy certainly said that they were ready to respond. So I'm not quite sure that that's actually the truth behind the matter. But this is a disgraceful decision. The US, the UK and a series of our other close allies are all joining in this defence of the Suez Canal, which is what is 12% of the world's trade goes through. And the fact that we have walked away from being part of that alliance and this constant move by this government to move us away from our traditional allies, and in fact, the decision has now been applauded by the Chinese government. So within a couple of weeks, we've had Australia and the UN vote with Iran, Russia and North Korea, and now we're making decisions against a US request that is being applauded by China. So if those facts alone don't give Australians a great deal of pause to think about what this government is doing to our future national security concerns, leaving us, their whole thing is, we're concentrating on the Pacific. Well, let's hope nothing happens and our allies turn around and say, well, we're not worried about the Pacific. That's your bailiwick. We need these guys if anything happened down in the southern part of the world. And this absolute defiance of a US request, of them refusing to be part of something that could have not only a great impact on world trade, but a very direct impact on Australians' back pocket when it comes to cost of living pressures, because the more goods that can't get in, the more goods that can't get out, and the higher costs associated with them will just mean that we're paying more for everything at home.
Well, don't forget that the Chinese state media was publishing editorials supporting the Albanese government, or it was then the opposition, when they were running for government last year. So we kind of know where this was all going. This was Richard Marles today.
Yeah.
We are making a contribution which is significant, which is commensurate with our size and our place in the world.
I mean, blah, blah, blah. If we don't have defence capability, Kristy, we're stuffed.
Look, the government released a Defence Strategic Review not long ago. It's the first one that's been done in a couple of decades. I think there was a mini one done in 2012. But this is a significant piece of work, and it simply says that Australia needs to develop a restructure of Navy, Air Force, and in particular, and very controversially, Army. So there was a lot of talk around defence and strategic policy advisors in Canberra that the review was welcome, but it didn't have a roadmap of what Australia needs to do to equip itself to defend itself, and not signalling that we're ready to stand with the United States and the United Kingdom is a snub to AUKUS, it's a snub to the alliance, it's a snub to our top 2 foreign direct investment partners in Australia. And I have no idea what Anthony Albanese spoke to Joe Biden about. If this is the first test of those 2 trips to the United States, I would really like to understand what went on.
We don't know what he's talked to anyone about. Well, we know he talked to Xi Jinping about Tassie Devils and pandas, but I mean, apart from that, his interactions with world leaders, we don't really know. Now, look, if I had it my way, we would abolish councils. I hate them. I used to be a local government reporter. I saw it up close. I have a distinct disdain for councils, and I never fail to have this confirmed again. A Northern New South Wales council debated this week whether to install 5 nuclear-free zone signs across the region, because they decided earlier in the year that they were going to become a nuclear-free zone because, I don't know, they were going to build a waste plant on top of them or something, who knows. But the cost for these 5 signs, $41,000. Now, I mean, this proposal came from the Clarence Valley Climate Change Advisory Committee, whatever that is. I mean, Hollie, can't these people just stick to their knitting or perhaps more accurately, the emptying of the bins?
Well, that's right. Rates, roads and rubbish. That is what councils are responsible for. And we know that many of them aren't too good at doing those things. But this is just another example of this woke virtue signalling that councils seem to find part of their remit. I mean, has anyone in the Clarence had a think about if they actually need access to an MRI? I mean, do their hospitals have MRI machines? Because the use of nuclear medicine is actually quite a considerable part of healthcare nowadays. So it is just, I mean, it's beyond stupid, but it's an absolute shame for those people and ratepayers in the Clarence that are now going to have to stump up through their rates an extra $40,000+ for them to put these stupid signs up.
Well, I think they've decided they're not going to do it in some sort of breakthrough of common sense. But the fact that it even got... Because like when a proposal comes to council, it has to go to the council staff. And the council staff then put it on the agenda to go to the... I mean, the fact that it got through all that process to begin with is just extraordinary. Now, Labor is in the spotlight today after it was revealed by the Oz that Bill Shorten's department, Services Australia, failed to answer any of the 362 questions asked of it by deadline during the latest round of Senate estimates. But Shorten says they haven't been answered because he reckons the coalition got ChatGPT to write them. I mean, Kristy, in all your days of working for MPs, did you ever get out the AI to script your questions?
Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, I've been there since the dawn of BlackBerry, Caleb, right up until, 24-hour TV and all the technology help you could possibly have. And, gosh, at no point ever do you not write your work, check it. You're almost paranoid sending something to a minister, and the day they take your piece of paper into the chamber for question time, you watch and hope that you have done the right thing, because on your head be it. It is one of the most scary days as an advisor when that happens. If you've got it wrong, oh my gosh. We're pretty serious about question time.
I've got to, just very quickly, Hollie, like, come on, 360 odd questions, he couldn't answer a single one of them. I mean, please.
No, and look, I'm pretty sure there's 1 or 2 from me in there, because I don't sit in that committee.
But did you write them? But did you write them with ChatGPT though?
No. No, see, this is the thing, though. So a lot of Senate estimate questions that are taken on notice are questions that are asked verbally that either the representing minister or the department are unable to answer. And so they ask, can we take that on notice? So these aren't necessarily questions that are submitted to them later. These are questions that are asked by the senators during the estimates process. So quite often this is quite a robust discussion. It's certainly a live discussion that you might start with one question that takes you in different directions. And quite often, if they can't provide the detail that you want, they will take that on notice. So a lot of these questions that Minister Shorten has ignored, and, not to pick on Bill, he is not the only offender here.
True.
He's one of the worst.
I think it's about 1,600.
But a lot of the departments here... Oh, it is absolutely pathetic. This was going to be the most transparent government, yet they have the most outstanding number of questions on notice. But the NDIS is one of the biggest parts of the budget. I was certainly in that committee for that part of the estimates and asked some questions that they could not answer, and so they were put on notice. So these are questions that are very relevant to very significant parts of the budget, yet Bill Shorten and many other Labor government ministers are treating the Australian people, forget the Senate, but they are treating the Australian people with contempt.
Well, good luck getting an answer.
Unwillingness.
Good luck getting an answer out of them.
Questions.
Maybe they could get the answer from ChatGPT. That seems like the easy solution to me.